do? I want to do something that is everlasting. And then, I kid you not, that same day on my Facebook came a post.
Welcome to Coffee with Jay at Cafe Bonchi in the World Heritage Site of Pune. Today, my guest is Esmeralda Levens Wijngaarde, and she is actually my former math teacher 10 years ago. She's also a mother of three. She loves nature and tells wonderful stories on Facebook. Today, I welcome her to the show. Welcome.
Thank you.
So firstly, I'd like to ask, what drink are you having?
I am having fresh ginger tea with a little bit of honey in it.
And since this is Coffee with Jay, right? I'm asking, do you normally have coffee? What's your relationship with coffee looking like?
Yeah, I don't drink coffee. When I was younger, my mom would drink 2 cups of coffee just to get up.
Okay.
So I would have to make it every morning for her. That's as far as my relationship with coffee goes. And I tried it as a kid sometimes. I'd have to take a sip and didn't like it. So I don't drink coffee, but I love coffee ice cream.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Coffee ice cream is also my favorite. So speaking of which, right? You said you used to make coffee growing up for your mother, right? Let's go back to the roots. I just want to know, where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. My parents are both from Suriname, which is on the other side of the ocean. And when I was 7, we moved back to Suriname. Suriname had just gotten independent from the Netherlands, and so my parents had finished their studies and wanted to go back home and help build it up. So I basically grew up in Suriname. I stayed there until I graduated from high school.
All right, wonderful. And then what kind of a student were you? Were you like the kind that would hardworking, staring out the window?
So I was the kind of student that after 2 weeks of summer vacation, I would ask my mom, when is the summer vacation finally over? Because I wanted to go to school. Not necessarily to learn, but just the social aspects of it, I really loved. I was also the kind of student who learned pretty easily, so I could spend my free time on, I had a lot of hobbies. Okay. So whenever we had school events, I was always one of the first ones to play the piano, do a dance with my friends, or whatever came up. But I was the student that all the teachers loved.
And what did you study in college or after?
So when I went to college, my mother, who's also studied physics and math, she told me, whatever you do not study math. And then, so I went to the States. I had a scholarship from the Louisiana State University. And I went there and I thought, okay, I'm not gonna study math. But then I really liked math and I was always really good at math. So I started taking math classes, and in the States you pick your own courses, right? Yeah. So then one day I got a call and they were like, yeah, you have enough credits to actually get your math degree. And I was like, no, I didn't really want to study math. I want to do other things. So then I got a degree in computer science as well, with a minor in electrical engineering.
Okay.
And then I went to graduate school in computer science.
All right, pretty cool. And having known that, right, what do you do now?
So now at the moment, I work at a local company, as a senior manager. It's an IT company, and we try to automate the governments of small islands in the region. So think of revenue departments, tax departments, social benefit departments. We try to automate them, create a portal for the taxpayers or employees to be able to file their taxes and take care of all the taxes online, so that they don't have to stand in long lines, right? They can skip the line and take care of it all. So it's a pretty big company. We have about 120 people working there. Yeah. My focus is on the English-speaking Caribbean, and there's around 55 people on my team.
All right.
So because I know how to program, I don't program myself, but I do know what it is like to be a programmer. So now I'm more of a project manager and a manager in general, because I work with a lot of young people who've just graduated from college. So I'm trying to guide them into the wonderful world of business.
Okay. basically making things go faster and still training the young ones. I
Yes.
see, right?
And reaching and helping our Caribbean nations reach their potential.
Okay.
That's
Beautiful.
really what it's about, right? For
Beautiful.
me.
Yeah. What is your favorite part about the job?
Working with people.
Okay.
It's my favorite.
What's your
It's also my favorite to see with the customers. We just launched with one of our customers their first online portal ever, and just to see the impact that has on the entire community is wonderful. Yeah.
What is your least favorite part of the job?
That there's never enough time in the day. I want to do so many things in a day, and then it's like, oh, it's already end of the day.
I agree with you on that. Sometimes there's just not enough hours in the day. We were talking about your job, right? But I want to roll back the clock a bit. I want to talk about a former job of yours. You were teaching me math at one point 10 years ago. What was your teaching career like? I don't know before. So how long did you teach? And when did you make a switch from that?
So I'm gonna roll back even further.
Okay.
I was 17 when I was done with high school.
Okay.
And my mom thought I was too young to leave the country, so she told me I had to take a gap year and stay home for a year.
Yeah.
Then the teacher at my old high school got sick, and then the principal called me and asked if I was willing to fill in. And I was like, okay, it's kind of cool. So I was 17, standing in front of a classroom with 13 and 14-year-olds. And they were all thinking, oh, this is gonna be great, she's so young, but I was very strict. So that's really when it started for me. And then later I became a teaching assistant in computer programming. And so all throughout my college and grad school years, I taught. And when we moved to Curacao, now 20 years ago, we had 2 little kids, and it was very difficult here to find a part-time job. And after about 3 months of sitting at home, I was like, yeah, I really want to do something. I applied at a university here. They had just started an ICT curriculum. So I taught here at the university for 8 years. And at the same time, I would always do projects on the side just to stay up to date with what was happening in the business world, so that I could make my classes or my lessons as practical as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Then after 8 years, I taught at high school level math, because I heard that one of the local high schools did not have a math teacher in the final grade, and the students would just have to do it on their own. And I was like, when I heard that, I just went to the school. I said, you know what, I'm volunteering. Then I went back into the business world. Somebody approached me about the international school, that they needed a math teacher. Would I be interested? Yeah, okay, let's do that. So I've always gone back and forth, because I have a love for math, but I also have a love for computer science, and so finding the perfect balance between those two. So yeah, you got me on my 2-year stint at international school teaching math.
and let me just say, right, like if you were not there, right, I would not probably have gotten the 4 I needed, the minimum I needed to get the 4, which would be to get the IB diploma. So literally, the diploma was on the line, and so thank you. And I want to add one anecdote, right? What really stood out to me was the month before our exams. I think exams start were in May. We had the April break, Easter break, and things. And so you knew we weren't ready. And so you called us to your house, and we would sit outside your backyard and do math. Me and this other student with me, Daniel, and we would just sit there and do math, right? And I knew that was a big thing then. And I look at it, having been a teacher now, I look at how big of a commitment and like an offering that was, and what a gift you gave us then. So a very delayed thank you for that too.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it as a sacrifice. It was just so natural to do,
It was very well needed, and it helped.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
With teaching, what's been like the most fulfilling thing about teaching for you?
Allowing students or giving students an opportunity to find their self-confidence. And math, for some reason, is like a big hurdle for 99% of the students. And so that's why I decided to be a math teacher. I've taught other things as well, but for me, math is, I see that when students believe like, oh, this is so hard, I'm never gonna be able to do this. When they do it, and they find that they can do anything they put their mind to, it oozes out to other parts of their life as well. I've had one student who was told, girls should not go to college, they should just get married and have kids. And she sort of believed that, and then after a while she's like, oh, I can do it. You know, she ended up going to college and getting a degree. And I've had students who have dyslexia and were told they were quote unquote dumb, but they're not, right? They just need to be taught a different way. And so I found that way that clicked with them, and they passed with flying colors. And that, it's not about the passing the class or the school. It's about knowing for themselves that nobody can tell them about themselves, right? It's all
no, for sure. And that perspective change is important, because I was teaching kids business, and when we reached the accounting part, people would look at the numbers and they'd be like, I can't do this, or like, it's like, why do I need to know these things? Like, I'll have an accountant do it for me. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Since you speak that way, like I was like, you need to get it, because like it's part of the curriculum in the grade. You're not gonna get it this way. That's not why you're going. Then I changed the perspective on them. I offered them like, aren't you gonna like be a boss and then run these things? And imagine if your accountant does something wrong. Don't you want to at least be able to look at a balance sheet and be like, something's wrong here? And they're like, oh yeah, as a boss, I'll need to know this. And then instantly they're like, okay, let me go learn it and be good at this.
Yes.
So that perspective shift can really go wonders.
And what I also like about teaching is to keep the curiosity of kids alive, because we are born with a natural sense of curiosity. But somehow I think in our education system, it is sort of thrown out the window, and kids are taught to just focus on rote memory, memorization of facts, and even in math, right? It's memorization of steps, which is not what math is all about. So what I always try to do in my teaching is to kindle that natural curiosity that kids are born with. So I especially liked it when I taught something, and then at the end of the class, I don't know if you remember, I would always ask like, do you have any questions? And 8 out of 10 questions was, what will I ever use this for? But it would always be 2 students who would be like, oh, but if what you just told us, if that's the case, then how about, then I knew, right? I got them.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so now, this was great. I'm gonna switch it up for you a little bit. We're gonna go into the next segment called Explain the Gram. You're not big on Instagram, right? So we're switching it up, and this time, exploring the book or the Facebook, right? So I'm gonna show you a few pictures and just tell us the deeper story behind it.
Okay.
Right? I'm gonna start with this one.
Oh, that's a picture of me. So I started a year and a half ago at the company where I currently work, and for their website, they needed a picture of me. So they actually booked a session for me and all the other new employees, and it became like this great photo shoot. The final picture is, of course, a close-up of me, but I really like this picture where you also see the
lights, right?
The
it was interesting how you went to a photo shoot and you chose the picture of behind the scenes.
Yeah, I loved it.
I have another one for you. You don't seem the happiest here, but you're surrounded by people who are happy.
Oh, I had a headache that day. So this is with my family. We always try to participate in scavenger hunts and things like that. So that was one of those scavenger hunts. And that day I had a real bad headache, but I was like, okay, let's do it for the kids. So that's what you see there on that picture.
One thing I want to explore was, I see your Facebook posts, right, always have, you are very able to like articulate stories really well. And I feel like you have dabbled into story writing and storytelling a little bit. So what motivates you to write and put those stories out there and share with the world?
So my dad was a journalist and he loved to write. So I think I got my love from writing from him. And I've always been a very observant person ever since I was younger. So I had all these stories in my head that I wanted to tell. And I've always wanted to learn how to write, be a better writer. And then 2 years ago, for my birthday, I had a big party and my friends all put money together. And the next day I thought, okay, what am I going to do with this money? Because I don't really care much about material things. I thought, what will I do? I want to do something that is everlasting. And then, I kid you not, that same day on my Facebook came a post. It was about a writing course. And the amount that it cost was exactly the amount that my friends had put together. And so I thought, yeah, this is kismet, right? This is meant to be. So I took the course, and I met some other people from Curacao who were in it, and we get together once a month and we write. Some of them are close to publishing their books. Other ones like me, not so much. But we do writing exercises, we read each other's work. So I really like to write.
And what kind of stories do you want to tell?
I like to write stories about my kids, the inspirational stories, things that inspire me. But I grew up in Suriname. After Suriname got independent in 1975, We then had a revolution in 1980. Well, they called it a revolution. It was a coup d'etat. The militaries took over. And so a lot has been written about that period, but a lot has been written about that period by grown-ups. And I was a child. I would like to write a book from a child's perspective on what it was like growing up in revolutionary Suriname. So I've started lots of times with chapter 1, and I keep taking a different perspective.
Yeah.
But that's my dream, to write a book about that period and the impact it had on me and my family.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you follow the politics in Suriname, but the then military leader who became a dictator, who then sort of went into the background, then he came back a few years after. He was just sentenced to 20 years in prison for crimes he had committed during the revolutionary days. A lot of younger people don't believe that anymore because he's completely changed his outward persona.
Yeah.
So they see a completely different person than I saw growing up, with militaries on every corner of the street, and them coming into the schools to beat us up, the students. Stories like that, they don't believe us when we tell them. And so there's a whole generation that we've been sort of quiet about it, and I feel that I should be one of the few people who writes about it. There's some other people in my generation too. So we get together through Facebook or other means, and we really want to write about this.
And it's great that you can now share your perspective and share these stories with the world, right? Because sometimes history is often written by the winners. And,
Exactly, yes.
And maybe there's a chance to like offer a different perspective and offer more to the world with that.
Yeah.
Moving on to fire round. You have to answer questions. The first thought that comes to your mind, right?
Okay.
It's challenging you for this. What's one thing that you always have in your fridge?
I'm a vegetarian, so I always have vegetarian burgers in my fridge.
Your favorite place to go for dinner?
The Visserij.
What's your favorite TV show?
I used to like Friends a lot.
Favorite meal?
It would be any meal cooked by my husband. That's my
Great.
favorite.
Favorite smell in nature?
I would think the smell of my country, Suriname, is my favorite.
Now, one word to describe these things, right? One word to describe pie.
Sweet,
Puzzles.
fun,
Family.
great,
Yourself.
hardworking,
Motherhood.
the best.
Lovely. You survived the fire round.
Ah,
So speaking of this, right? We just talked about you being a mom. How do you manage juggling the roles of being a mom of 3, being a manager and leader of, I think, 55 people you had said, right? And being yourself, being Esmeralda. How do you juggle that combination?
I juggle it by accepting that I will not be able to do them all 100%. A child psychologist once told me that children only need half an hour a day of undivided attention of their parent. And once I learned that, I felt okay with pursuing a career, also having a role as mother, and also a role as myself. I have to say, myself, I put often last, so I still struggle with that a bit, and I need to put myself more higher up. And then every now and then I catch myself, I'm like, okay, so then I do yoga, or I do volunteer work that really fills me up with energy.
Okay, great. So last question, this is welcome to our Heart Trooper question. What fulfills your heart? What brings you fulfillment?
So when I see students paying it forward by being themselves teachers, or by having a conversation like this, that really fills my heart. Or also when I see students who, came into my classroom very insecure, very self-conscious, just after 10 years texting me, Miss, how are you? I've never forgotten about you. And then it's not even the math they remember. It might be some little thing, like a story I told them about my kids or about my husband or about my travels. It could be something tiny, but they remember it. It made an impact. That really.
Oh, and I passed it on, by the way. One piece of advice you had given was build your confidence up, because like the math that will come in your exam will be hard. You will not be able to get everything. So build your confidence up. Answer what you know first. And I literally gave them this advice, and I gave them the game plan. No, you don't know 100%. I had a similar situation where I only had 1 year to teach kids, and they were in their last year. So I only taught them 70% of the curriculum. And that's all I could do. I was like, 70%, right? Even though you did 3 out of the 5, 70%. When you go in there, attack what you know.
Exactly. Go with your game
Right?
plan. That's what I always thought,
Yeah.
right?
They got a bit lucky. They didn't have to
Yeah.
take the exam. A pandemic came in the way.
Oh, okay.
But the strategy was still there, and it was used very well. Well, thank you. Those were my set of questions.
Okay.
But if I would not be a proper teacher if there would not be a test. So now there's a mystery taste test, and then the caveat is I'm taking the test with you because I don't know what's going to be. For the mystery taste test, producer Isa is going to blindfold us.
Okay. I'm supposed to guess
We're
what it is?
both supposed to guess it. Whoever gets it first. I'm supposedly terrible at this for the one
Me
time I
too.
did.
Let me know when it's.
Yeah, perfect.
If you can't guess the drink, at least we can guess the flavors, I'm told.
Yes.
Yeah?
Is it good? Okay. Yes. Alright. Let's see how the cup is working.
I have found my cup.
Okay, it's something with sparkly, like sparkling water or Sprite or something like that.
It has elements of what I would consider Sprite having. I'm sensing a little bit of lime.
Yep, me too. Oh, I think it's agua la munchi with made with soda water.
No.
Is it like a combination of lime and lemon? Is this a commercial for Sprite? How many wrong tries do we get?
Whatever this is delicious.
It's
Nice and
absolutely
refreshing.
Hey, Jinx.
Yeah, thanks.
Is it like a sparkling soda, like carbonated drink with lemon in it?
There's one thing right, it's the lemon inside. It has an extra flavor. A
Okay.
little bit in the back.
Orange? I think we're helpless here.
And what about the raspberry? Raspberry with lemon and
Correct?
sparkling.
We're gonna unblindfold it. You passed the taste test because clearly we needed a few hints, but we got it. Since you passed the test. Right. Well, you were gonna get this regardless if you passed the test or not. But here's a
Oh,
gift box just for you.
with my name on it and everything.
Yes.
Oh, my own mug. Awesome. Wow.
For hot days.
Yes, I was standing in line the other day. I don't remember where. Oh, I know. There's this Chef Helmi, and every month she chooses another farm, and she completely turns that field into a restaurant. She calls it Dinner in the Field. And we were the first half hour. You get a tour through the farm, and then you sit down, and then
Yeah.
she cooks a 4-course meal with just products that she finds on the farm.
Okay. Wow.
And it was kind of hot. So my friends and I were like, oh, if only we had, this.
Yeah.
So next time I
Oh.
go for Dinner in the Field, I will
There you
have
go.
one. These are
Right. This is a special gift certificate courtesy of Cafe Bonci.
Oh, nice.
Right? So you can come back here again and have another drink. And what also goes in there is the thing that was put on you. That's the scarf that you can keep for yourself. It's a scarf courtesy of Parfois. The scarf is brought to you by Mia. Mia Curaçao's in Sambil and Punda. And so they have a brand called Parfois, a Portuguese brand. And so the scarf is from them. And it's lightweight, so you can use it here a little bit for stylish purposes. Or whenever you go to Holland, it can be useful either way.
Yes, when I go visit my children.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing everything. Thank you for sharing your love for your storytelling. Thank you for empowering the younger generation with self-confidence and encouragement to do these things. And thank you for all that you bring to this world. We really enjoyed having you here, and you again beat me at the taste test. So one day Jay will try and win this back again.